Hello, my name is Stacy, and this is video 1 for Torah and babies. This particular video is not actually going to be talking about babies too much, except to explain why my channel is called Torah and Babies. Um, Torah, because it's such a huge part of our life, all of Scripture is, New and Old Testament. However, for other believers like myself and my husband, we are Torah observant Christians. So that means that we believe that all of Scripture, Old and New Testament, is applicable for today. Anyway, at some point I would like to create a childbirth education course that is going to be supportive of the Torah observant community. And maybe Christians as well. I'm not sure if that would be of something of use to them for the mainstream Christians, but it'll be there if they're interested. As you can see, I look a little bit like a mess. A lot like a mess. My hair here, interestingly, looks a lot like a picture I have of my youngest, who's 9 months old today. I look like a mess because I feel like a mess. And I really kind of wanted to get this from ground zero because I am sure that it's all uphill, but for the better from here. So, my hair has been up in this bun for I think 4 or 5 days. I haven't washed my hair. I haven't taken a shower. I took a quick shower last night, but didn't mess with my hair because I can't. My hands are pretty messed up right now. In September, my husband and I moved off of our converted school bus with our 3 children. My son, who is now 10, one of my daughters, who is now 7, and our youngest, who is now 9 months. We also have a much older one, but she's not living with us. She's married and on her own. Anyways, we moved off of our converted school bus in September into a mobile home, and my husband very soon after started having some issues with his feet and was no longer able to work. I was in school at the time, was doing well, was intending on starting the midwifery program at a local community college in January. It is now February 21st today. But that got changed when he had some health issues that prevented him from working. I ended up needing to complete school for the fall semester and then decided to take a year off until things kind of sorted out to be able to begin the midwifery program, which is, from what I understand, intensive. Well, what ended up happening was I started working in November, finished schooling in December for that semester, did well, was on the Honor Roll Society for Phi Theta Kappa, and it brought my GPA up a little bit. And then on December 31st, I got some pain in my wrist, my right wrist. And it just started causing me a lot of problems. I had been having some tendon problems and joint pain a little bit starting in November. I figured it was associated with my working at Joann Fabric. And my wrist, I figured, was from working at the cutting counter. Come to find out that things would get much, much worse. So by January 4th or 5th, I lost feeling in this part of my thumb. It still has not come back. My wrist quite often causes me a lot of trouble. I sometimes have issues with this wrist as well. But I ended up having a pretty big problem with all of my joints. By this time, so February 21st. I apologize if I'm repeating myself. I want to get all of this and I haven't written it down because I can't. Anyways, so between the beginning of the year and now, so we're talking 6-7 weeks, I have basically become bedridden. I no longer am working. I stopped working for Joanne Fabric the first week of January because I couldn't physically handle it anymore. In the second week of January, I finally made it into a new doctor for the area that we're living in, and they tested my thyroid function. My TSH at that time was 231.51. The target range should be 0.3 to 5.5, so we're talking a pretty big significant difference. And so all of my aches and pains and everything was blamed on the thyroid condition. I then was told to start my medication at, I was going to grab my bottle, but it seems to have gone missing. 0.075 for 2 weeks, and then bump it up to 0.150, which was what I have been on in the past. And then begin the higher dose after 2 weeks. Well, 5 days into taking the 0.075, I met with a naturopath who felt that she could help me just as well and probably better with me being off the medication. So I went off my medication at that point, was off of it for 2 weeks. That was completely my choice to make. She was willing to work with me either way. And so I don't really blame her for doing what she feels called to, which is healing through natural means. However, after 2 weeks, my symptoms got increasingly worse. Instead of just having joint pain in my hands and wrists and in my feet and ankles, it went up to my knees and then my elbows and eventually into my neck, and made my neck extremely stiff, and even to the left side of my jaw. The only joint not affected was the right side of my jaw. And at that point, I decided that I needed to go back on my thyroid medication. Within a week of being on my medication, so back to the 0.075, I went back to, or I actually went into the emergency room because I was feeling very out of control. I was having panic attacks, something that is not a normal thing for me. I have no other way to explain this other than the fact that I wanted to crawl out of my own body. I literally felt like my own body was suffocating me. I don't know if you've ever had a panicky feeling from being too hot in a jacket, but it was something similar to that, except I was in my own body and there was nothing I could do about it. It was quite terrifying, and it was quite scary, and I was very emotional and felt very terrified. So I went into the emergency room. They tested my TSH. At that point, it was 409.97. It had jumped considerably in just the 3 weeks since I had had it tested prior. Why it did that, I still don't know yet. I have more testing coming up in the near future. But it was obviously not a good thing. So the emergency room staff told me to go ahead and start taking the 0.150 medication starting the next day. So after only a week of taking the 0.075, and I went back into the emergency room this previous Sunday because I thought maybe my TSH was still climbing. And I have since found a nodule on this part of my neck. And so I thought maybe the medication wasn't helping. Well, it was helping. It did come down considerably to 231 again. But I still am feeling a lot of the effects of my thyroid being out of control. I ended up being pretty much bedridden. I couldn't hardly move my legs. It took a lot of effort and a lot of pain to even just lift my leg and scoot it over when I was laying on my back. I equated it to feeling like I was a cinder block. I really had very little function of my body. If I got upright, it was a little bit better. I could at least walk slowly, but I couldn't lift my legs and my arms. That was pretty scary feeling. I believe wholeheartedly in the natural healing of what God provides to us. I don't trust the medical community too much, even though I've been into the emergency room a couple of times. I didn't know what other options I had. I have since learned about the healing ability of fasting. So I have been on, excuse me, I've been on my medication at the 0.150, and I'm continuing to take that until my levels get stabilized. But I have also been fasting. Today is day 4, partly why I look kind of crummy. I have been only drinking water with, one of my issues, by the way, is lifting my arm. Like, I get to about here and it's very challenging to lift my arm. It's not as bad as it was just a couple of days ago, but anyways, so I'm taking this stuff. It is pink Himalayan sea salt. It looks like it is reversed on my screen, but putting a little bit in my water along with some lemon, and I've been doing a water fast now for 4 days. I intend to do it for another day or two, and then start a juice fast. It has helped tremendously. I am now able to move more. Before, I wasn't even able to lift my arms at all. In conjunction with taking my thyroid medication. So that's where we are now. I still look like a mess, and my next couple videos I'll probably still look like a mess. Typically, I would not be showing my shoulders, and I would also have a head covering on, but I can't do that. My 9-month-old is nursing, so this type of clothing that is easy to pull down is easiest to try to feed her with all of my ailments going on right now. Anyways, what I'm hoping from this video and the subsequent videos is to show my progression from rock bottom, where I am just about now, to healing through Yahweh and what He offers through His plants and herbs and things like, and oils and things like that, to eventually get off my thyroid medication for good. I believe that my thyroid is messed up for underlying issues, not because it's just messed up and so I have to be on medication. Like, there's something else causing those issues with my thyroid, and I want to get to the bottom of what those issues are. I have read that with as long of a history as I have, which is close to 30 years with thyroid medication, that it's impossible to get off. I don't believe that. I believe that Yahweh can heal in every way He uses. So whether that is through medicinal things like the plants and herbs that He gives us, or just miraculous healing. Either way, I expect a healing. So His word says that we get that. So I am starting from here. I'm hoping that other people that may come across this who are looking for natural ways of healing their thyroid or their ailments may be able to glean from my experience over the next couple of years and know that there is hope for getting off their thyroid medication and healing from their major ailments due to failing health. Anyways, I guess that's about it. I hope that in the near future I'll be able to make these videos a little bit cleaner and a little bit more user-friendly. Right now it's just bare minimum. Have a good day.